gotta thank Yolopark once again for hooking me up with some new AMK Pro figures. I got 2 in this recent package they sent me. I got Soundwave and I got Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. But first, I want to talk about Soundwave because he's my boy. He's my favorite Transformers character. And this is the first time that Yolopark has taken a swing at him. And they started off with one of the most strong and epic designs for Soundwave, that being from the Bumblebee movie. Yeah, this looks incredible. This looks super awesome. Yolopark AMK stuff. Once again, super awesome packaging. Absolutely love how this always turns out. And as always, if you are interested in some Yolopark items of your own, you can use my affiliate link down below. Just using that link really helps out. But if you want to save yourself some money on some standard AMK items, not AMK Pro, you can use my discount code JCC. Save yourself 5% on standard AMK like Rise of the Beast, the G1 stuff, the Transformers 1 stuff. But again, does not work for the AMK Pros. So this package, as always, looks super awesome, super fantastic. And it still has the super cool slipcover with the amazing line art. I'm not going to lie, I actually kind of prefer how this looks over the actual box. But it's super cool, kind of shows you how the assembly is going to go. And as I've been doing recently, I'm not going to build this on camera. You know how AMKs go together. You follow the instructions, you put the pieces together. But I am going to open this up and show you the unboxing experience. Oh, but JCC, you know how to open a box. You just cut the tape and then you open the... Shh. I want to look at the parts. That's why I'm doing this. I want my first impression to be on camera of all the parts and pieces for this guy. That's how I like doing it. Does he have a pin? These usually have like a pin that falls out whenever I unbox it. No pin? No pin? Huh, no pin this time. That's kind of disappointing. I would have loved to have a Soundwave pin. But anyways, here is our first tray. This is going to have our like main body parts. There's this head right there. I'm noticing the weathering on the white looks really cool. I'm definitely a fan of that. Me personally, I love when Soundwave is blue and white instead of blue and silver. I'm just a big fan of that color contrast of the blue and white. I personally think it's like the best Soundwave color combo. Here are some of the major armor panels on this runner right here. Well, I call it a runner, it's just a tray. You can see some alternate hands, the chest right there, some nice little highlights of red on those white pieces, which actually look really nice and glossy. And then some of the final panels right here, and his gun, which looks very different from his normal gun, but hey, at least his shoulder gun looks pretty normal. And then this last tray, I'm going to guess, is going to be, it's going to be the display base, as always, and Ravage down there, which looks really, really cool. Seems like Ravage is a pretty easy assembly. So yeah, there is our unboxing for Soundwave. I'm going to go ahead and jump cut, get this guy built, get the batteries in him. I actually had to order new batteries for these guys. I had to wait a couple days to open these because they didn't have the batteries yet. Alrighty guys, I'll be right back. So here's our Yolopark AMK Pro Soundwave out of the box, all built up. And yeah, we've got another winner on our hands. I feel like there's a couple things that I'm not the biggest fan of on this guy, but I mean, come on, it's a Bumblebee Movie Soundwave. This is arguably one of the best Soundwave designs of all time. It's one of my personal favorites, and I am ready and willing to take any toy that is thrown at me of this design. But before we talk about the figure itself, I do want to go over his accessories. Just like every Yolopark AMK Pro since the initial G1s, we have the same style of display base with the crotch, cradle, whatever, bendy wire with the port on it. And for Soundwave, it is, again, in between his legs. I do wish it was on his back. I will say this in every AMK Pro review. But, I mean, you can have him in the air. You can, I don't know, do stuff like that. Pose him like he's jumping down when he was first introduced. It's cool. I personally do not use these bases. I do not have the shelf space for these massive bases. But I do appreciate the inclusions. And just like with all of them, you do have the little Decepticon symbol in the front that will activate the lights when we get around to that. Next up, we have a very, if you ask me, unnecessary assortment of hands. They're unnecessary because he already has articulated hands on him, which I think are perfectly fine. But he's got fisted hands. Those are decent. He's got wide open hands, which are, decent, I guess. And all these hands, you actually have this separate, like, dumbbell joint piece that you have to like swap between them if you're going to change it out. He does have like the Ravage commanding hand, which is very cool. And he has this trigger finger hand that I highly do not recommend using because he does not hold his blaster good with this at all. You actually want to have him holding the blaster with the articulated hands. And you'll see why when we talk about the blaster, which is going to be right now, because he has his Bumblebee Movie style blaster, which looks nothing like his G1 blaster, but it's still nice. And you can see it actually has a peg that you swing out and will plug into these hands. This one doesn't have it. It just has an L right there on that one that I very conveniently popped off. Yes, there is an actual peg hole in that hand, and there's a peg that flips out, and it allows for the gun to be held perfectly by this hand. It is super solid, super secure, absolutely unlike the molded trigger finger hand. Definitely use that hand. I wasn't even using that hand, and I was like, oh, it's so annoying how he just doesn't hold this gun well. Well, just use the articulated hands. I guess you can also count the shoulder cannon as an accessory. We'll get in a little bit closer on the details on that when we get closer on the figure. But yeah, it is on a swivel, an up and down hinge, and another swivel at the base. So it's got a decent amount of articulation to move it around for your posing. We do also have Ravage. Yes, this Soundwave just straight up comes with Ravage. And this Ravage is decent. The figure itself, perfectly fine. I think the detail on it is really nice. The articulation, just going over this Ravage right now. He's got ball joints at all of his like shoulder, hip areas. He's got hinges at the elbows/knees. And then he's got an extra hinge right there. And then he also has hinges at the feet. And then his head is on a ball joint, and you can move the mouth open and close. So he's got standard articulation for a Ravage. His detail is pretty spot on. Like you can see, he's got a lot of nice paint on him. He looks pretty superb. I'm noticing a lot more unpainted gray plastic on this than what we normally see with AMK Pro. Honestly, this feels more like just an AMK release, except it's got some extra weathering. And the weathering is nice, don't get me wrong. It is a nice looking Ravage. But the main issue with him is he's not in scale with Soundwave. He's way too huge. He's huge. He's way too big to be with the Soundwave. Don't believe me? This is the AMK Pro Ravage next to the 3.0 DLX Ravage. Keep in mind, 3.0 DLX is a larger scale. Why are the Ravages the same size? That's because the Yolopark one is too big. The Yolopark one is way too big. The 3.0 one is actually designed to be folded up and put into Soundwave's chest. They actually made this transformable, so it is undisputedly in scale with the Soundwave. This absolutely is not in scale with the Soundwave, because you do get another Ravage in this set. You get a separate cassette Ravage that goes into the chest. And it's a very nice die-cast piece. Like, it's very nice, but you can see it's all, like, pre-folded up and everything. And there's no way that that's the same scale. Like, look, this is supposed to be the same components. It's not the same scale. It's absolutely not. So yeah, this Ravage is nice, but it's not in scale with the Soundwave you get. It's very confusing to me. I'm not sure why they went this route, especially since it doesn't have to transform or anything. They just should have made this a lot smaller. It's kind of disappointing. But we still have a couple more accessories, because the Ravage actually comes with its own display base piece you can actually put into the display base. If you want to display Ravage, you can just, pinch it, move it around a little bit. You do have to take off the pole that the Soundwave would use, so you cannot have both figures on the display base at once. You have to choose between Ravage and Soundwave. So it's a nice inclusion. I might find some use for this later down the road, but not for this particular set. And bizarrely, it also comes with this, I don't even know how to describe it. I can only equate it to, those little containers where you can, keep the little sanitizer bottles. That's the only thing I can equate it to. Make it this, acrylic version of Ravage transformed. So you have, the die-cast one and the acrylic one. And you can see they both have some nice detail. It's the same kind of detail and everything. The acrylic one, when you flip it, it's only printed on the one side, so it actually gives it some depth. And that's kind of nice. But yeah, you can put both in the chest, I reckon, if you want to. Or you could put both of them in this weird rubber thing, if you want to. What am I going to do with this? And it's got that weird, connector thing that I feel like is going to break, but you, pull it through. You can see it kind of stretching. Yeah, I'm not sure. But it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. I'll keep the acrylic one in here, and I'll have it like upside down, so it kind of has like this cool like depth to it. And then this will just go back in the chest. All right, so the Soundwave came with a lot of stuff, but now we got to talk about the figure itself, and we got to go over the details, because there are a lot of great details on this guy. Number one, the chest is really popping out at me, especially with that Ravage inside. That looks spectacular. There is so much paint and detail on this guy, just like all the AMK Pros. The head sculpt looks fantastic, as always. We'll take a closer look at that to get the lights going. There's a closer look at the shoulder cannon, the shoulder pads. There's a lot of nice detail. One thing I am noticing is the white. I do appreciate some of the weathering on the white bits on Soundwave, but I feel like they kind of went a little too far on it, because they added like some tan, and it just looks like dirt, and it makes him look dirty. Like even on his head sculpt, it just makes him look dirty. And I think there's a difference between weathered and dirty, and I don't know. I'm not vibing with the tan too much. Like you can see it even around like the play buttons, like the forward and rewind right there. But he's got a lot of great paint head to toe, as always with these Yolopark AMK Pros. Like he's got a lot of detail, and I am so excited about it. His head sculpt is pretty fantastic. Like I said, he does look a little dirty with that tan weathering, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. But once we get the light on this guy, that's where he really shines, because his visor looks incredible when it's lit up. It looks so, so cool. And of course, it's a standard AMK Pro, so it does have the blink function as well as the pulsing function, which seems to be acting a little differently. It's almost like a blink pulse on this one. I don't know if that's intentional or what, but it's still really nice looking. It's it's Soundwave. I mean, come on. I'm definitely vibing with the look, with the design. And I think this figure is pretty good. We already went over Ravage's articulation, but now we need to talk about how the Soundwave articulates. I did already talk about the shoulder cannon, how it kind of rotates, and we'll get out of the way for you. The head sculpt is on a ball joint, and the neck is also on a ball joint, so you can get a lot of like tilt side to side, also side to side motion. Shoulders are on butterflies, and the shoulder pads are on hinges, so the shoulders have a pretty good range of motion. You do have bicep swivels. This armor plate back here you can move for some reason. I don't know, you can move that armor plate. You do have double jointed elbows, which don't go all the way just because of the odd like design of Soundwave's arm. Like you can see his bicep kind of goes into this crevice in his forearm, but it still gets you a lot of range of articulation. So his hands, these are his articulated hands. They're on ball joints. His thumb is on a ball joint. And then his pointer, let's just take it off. His pointer finger is on two hinges. One hinge right there, and then another hinge at the base of the knuckle. And then the other fingers are also all combined, but they're also on those two same hinges. So pretty decent articulation out of the hands. I personally am never going to use the optional swap hands. Now, his torso has a point of articulation that I am really struggling with. So it's kind of got like a tilt side to side, which is perfectly fine. And it's got like a crunch back, but when I do the crunch forward, I don't know. I feel it catching on something. Like, I don't know if you can literally see how it's like catching on something as I do the crunch forward. But hey, that's better than it popping off, which it has done that to me a couple times. But yeah, it's just got it's like it's catching on something. I don't know. Not the biggest fan of that. Not a super great feeling. His hip skirts are on double hinges, so you can move them out of the way. And he does have a waist rotation, which is kind of funny looking. It's just a little funny looking. His hips can move down, and moving forward, these hip skirts, like they're just going to get in the way unless you kind of swing the legs out a little bit. So the legs can move forward pretty decently. Out to the side, swung down, they move great. But if you don't swing them down and you want to move them out to the side, it has this panel that'll move out of the way. Just like a certain other Soundwave figure that I'm definitely going to compare him to in a little bit here. So his knees are awesome because they're on a double joint, and when you move this joint, it slides that thigh panel along with it, and that just looks really cool, and I love that so much. And his ankles, he's got nice rockers. He's got a swivel, and he's got up and down. He's got a little bit of toe articulation, too. You can move his little toesies. I can tell his feet are die-cast. I think something on his shins are die-cast. I don't know, it's super hard to tell sometimes on these AMK Pros what exactly is die-cast, but it's always appreciated that they throw metal components in these guys. Just gives them that extra premium feeling that I really enjoy. Alright, to compare the Yolopark AMK Pro Soundwave to a couple other Bumblebee Movie Soundwaves, here it is with my very first 3.0 DLX figure, their Bumblebee Movie Soundwave. And honestly, there's been a couple times with these battles between Yolopark and 3.0 DLX where I actually side with Yolopark. There's some where I side with 3.0. This is one where I gotta side with 3.0. I love you, Yolopark, I do. But something just about the large size, the difference in the paint application, it speaks to me so much more. The Ravage that's more in scale, that'll actually go into his chest. Yeah, the 3.0 just... Oh, I love them both, don't get me wrong. But looking at both of these, my eyes are just gravitating towards that 3.0 one. But of course, we have another Soundwave we have to compare it to. The one I'm sure most of you guys have. The Studio Series 1. And yeah, the Studio Series 1, the paint application looks absolutely pitiful next to these. But keep in mind the price differences. You know, it's kind of like this one, then twice as much, and then over twice as much as that one. So, yeah, the prices are going to be going up as you get higher and higher when it comes to the quality and the size. But as someone who loves the Soundwave design with all of my heart, I am so happy to see that he has gotten some absolutely fantastic figures from various different companies at various different scales. You can't go wrong when it comes to Bumblebee Movie Soundwave, pretty much. Like, I really don't think you can. Well, I wanted to see if this Soundwave could pull off a nice kneeling pose, and I'm happy to report that he can. He kind of got to work with the waist a little bit, but hey, he can pull it off. This is a great figure. It's really, really great. My shortcomings with it are few and far between. It's pretty much just... He looks a little dirty with the paint applications, but the main one is the Ravage is out of scale. That's my biggest issue here. And I can kind of tell that he's out of scale. He just looks a little too big, and especially considering he's the same size as a figure that is in a larger scale, it's evidence. I'm not sure why they made him bigger. Maybe they just want to get more detail and engineering in him, but I don't know. I think they could have made him a little smaller. Either way, I still love this set, and I'm very grateful to Yolopark for sending this over for review. It's really good. If you love the design of Bumblebee Movie Soundwave and you want yourself a really nice, detailed robot replica of this Soundwave, I mean, as always, Yolopark, they're your go-to. They are the go-to for these robot replica style figures because they're more affordable, they have amazing paint, light-up functions, tons of character variety and selection, and they just keep pumping them out more and more. I love what Yolopark does. I don't really think they've really gone wrong yet. I would say probably the biggest issue that Yolopark AMK Pro has had so far is this overscaled Ravage. Like, that's probably the biggest issue they've had so far. But other than that, they've been killing it. Special thanks to Yolopark again for sending this out for review, and special thanks to the channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. It is always very, very appreciated. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.